My mother is honey-tongued hostess, but also foul-mouthed foe who will crash your party because she said so, and she feels like it. And you ain't gotta know because you ain't her mama. Mama asked me Sunday of last to help fold her laundry. She's going on a trip, you see. She won't be back in a while. That's understandable, I say. Nobody wants to come home to a room that's a mess. She turns to me and says, that's not what I said and that's not what I mean. Never presume to tell me what I mean to say. What I meant was, what if something happens to me while I'm away? Somebody's gonna have to clean my room someday. My mother is not afraid of death or dying. Instead, by the fact that long after her body no longer belongs above ground, someone will come into her room and say, she could have at least tidied up a bit. My mother, like many, is afraid of loving too hard or falling into it too easy. So her love becomes wet snow and warm hands or sand castles or anything else that is beautiful but quickly fades away or slips easily through your fingers. Mama's first marriage was a year younger than my age. 14, I think she was, first baby 15, second 17, her husband died 19, her mother a little after, but these were different times, I guess. Also, continents upon oceans upon continents away. My mother says, feel love as you do the water. Dip your toes in, swim, even wade if you want to, but going too deep or too long, it'll kill you or leave you waiting at the shoreline for him to come back, perhaps. This is why she's afraid of open water. She fears it like one fears the sight of her own blood. She is familiar with it. Rode on its belly to new country, praying it wasn't hungry for more brown and black bodies to turn purple and blue. I convinced her once to visit the beach with me. She stepped onto the sand and I saw her throat bobbing, breath caught between her jaws, barely breathing. Saw her stare down the sea as if she could see lines of middle passage cut like scars, as if she could see all 1 billion tons of bone-breaking death, baby-eating beast wisps of children on the shoreline like breakfast, and devourer of souls who've only known dry land, who can't swim. She still can't swim. And there she stood, woman afraid of water on an island surrounded by it, and ain't that the biggest fuck you to fear you've ever heard. My mother fears how she will die. Seen how easy black bodies fade into the night, how easily they are embraced like bullets, like old friends, how tiki torches become crosses on fire, and how white hands become corded ropes so easy. She knows how lately the scarf she wears around her neck has become sufficient means of suffocation. Sometimes she questions me, saying, if I choke to death, will I die without knowing whether it was a noose or my own scarf, without knowing whether it was the skin or the scarf that didn't fit, without knowing which one they hated more? My mother is afraid of the spiderweb scars on her thigh. My mother is afraid of the growing ache in her neck that leaves her stiff after working 2 shifts. My mother is afraid of amounting to nothing. My mother is afraid of being a mother. My mother is afraid of my mother. My mother is afraid of performing this poem. My mother fears that fear is hereditary, and my mother fears that saying my mother is just a clever way of saying my mother and I.